We are one more day closer to Houston's final match of this World Cup. Welcome to Extra Time. On this program, the life of a content creator working the biggest sporting event in the world and the United States style of play. How about press the issue? And it's working. But the big story still, America seeing red over the red card given to striker Flo Balogun last night in the win over Bosnia and Herzegovina. He will miss the next game against Belgium. Right now, still no other news regarding his punishment. Christian Pulisic offering his opinion of that card after last night's match.
I know it's just so unfortunate, honestly. Like, just looking back at it, it just seems so harsh. So for us to get that and for him, like, I just told him, like, he's done so much for us, and now we got his back. So that's it. I mean, if he has to miss the next game, it's ridiculous for something like that.
You see the shrug of the shoulders. So who could replace Flo in the lineup? We will ask tonight's guest that very question. Happening earlier today, Spain still clean for this entire tournament? Today's final in the round of 32 was 3-0 over Austria. Spain dominating in every way. It will now play the winner of Portugal and Croatia Monday in Arlington. Here in Houston, another day of training for both Canada and Morocco, and the vibe ahead of Saturday's matchup. Luis Ortiz has that from Houston Sports Park.
And we're at Houston Sports Park, training grounds for the Houston Dynamo that today is the home for the Canadian national football team, who is preparing to take on Morocco in the round of 16 match. First time ever that Canada is in the round of 16 in a World Cup. And now, talking to the players before training, they say they understand, they acknowledge that pressure that comes with playing in these distances of the World Cup. However, they say they are up for it, and mentally, they're preparing by looking at this game like just another match.
This is all pressure that I think your own mind puts on it. You know, if you look at it as just another game, which it is, which we've all been doing, we've been playing this sport all our lives. So you just try to enjoy it, and the pressure is normal, but it's good that there's pressure.
Now, when we talk about football, the tactics, the strategy, everything that goes on the pitch, Canada saying it's no secret that they are an aggressive team. They like to press. Also, they understand that in football, look, you have to adapt, you have to make adjustments as the clock is ticking, as the game progresses. And one thing that this team has very clear is that clean sheets win you games.
Yeah, knockout football, you need one moment, whether that's set piece or open play. And yeah, if we can keep getting, because we've been getting a lot of corners as well, so if we can keep working on that and then creating those chances, then hopefully we can get some goals as well.
Yeah, and so Morocco comes into this match with a 33-game unbeaten streak, and that's why Canada's head coach, Jesse Marsch, says this is a gory, terrible nightmare going up against Morocco. From Houston Sports Park, Luis Ortiz, KHOU 11 News.
Morocco is definitely a tough draw. Now let's go back to the Americans. The road to the quarterfinals obviously now runs through Belgium. And the U.S., after last night, is expecting a fight for every inch.
It's going to be a difficult game. They're very talented. But, you know, I think we have a lot of confidence right now. We're playing really well. We didn't have some of the guys that we do now. And hopefully we give ourselves a good chance by playing smart and playing confident.
We're not trying to make any highlight reels, that's for sure. But I think that shows the confidence, and we did it. You know, just a little bit of a swagger in our team that we have the belief in what we're doing, and we can do that, and we can compete against some of the best teams.
So that's what the players were saying, and here on Extra Time, we're kicking things off with someone who's been here before and cannot wait to talk about what he saw last night. And Ryan Pratt, HCU Soccer, back for his third cap. Did you expect this when we first started out doing this?
No, I did not, but it's so good to be back.
It is. Now, the big story, obviously, is Flo Balogun. Huge loss for the United States. Did that deserve a red card?
I don't think so. I think everybody across the country has different opinions. If you look at that play at full speed, he's nudged from the back as a defender kind of comes through him a little bit. He's off balance. He's just searching to find his balance, and it just happens to land on the calf and then slide down to the ankle. If you look at everything in slow motion and then still pictures, it looks terrible. But at full speed, it's not a red card at all.
I failed to mention that this man is wearing a U.S. jersey, so You can still be impartial, right?
I think I can.
All right.
But in this case, there's no need for it.
A lot of people are comparing this to the play involving Messi earlier in the tournament. Are they comparable?
I don't think so. I think there's different circumstances that involve this one. Like I just mentioned, when you come through the back of somebody as a player, you're off balance. You're just looking for something to get yourself back on the ground, and it just so happened that he's there. He's not even looking at the player he's in kind of in contesting with, and so it's just a kind of an unfortunate circumstance.
Now, the big question is, if you're Mauricio Pochettino, who do you insert in the lineup in place of Flo Balogun?
Yeah, I think he has a couple of options here. One, if you want to go like for like, you can insert Ricardo Pepi up top, a true number 9. You also have Haji Wright, who hasn't played a minute yet in this World Cup, but he's also a true number 9. If you want to think outside the box a little bit, you can maybe think about inserting Pulisic up at that position, knowing that he'll be a bit of a false 9, and you've got to bring out Winger in that role where Pulisic has or was. And for me, who is that guy? As a coach, I would like to make as few changes as possible to keep Pulisic in the left, where he has been so dominant in the first 3 games, and make as few changes as possible. So I might look at somebody like maybe a Gio Reyna, who can come up in that position, play more of a false 9. Balogun for us in possession isn't a big target for us. He's more of a guy who runs in the channels, if you will. So if we can get our false 9 coming back down, playing in front of the back 4 and looking to place and play other players through, then it may be a good look for us as well.
And on the big board is the Toy Stadium, Ryan. Let's break down some of the U.S. scoring chances. What did you like about what the United States was doing against Bosnia and Herzegovina?
So it's not just been against Bosnia that we've been doing this. It's been every opponent so far in the Cup. And we have put a lot of our opponents under pressure. We've high-pressed them quite a bit. And this is the moment leading to our goal that Balogun scored that was offsides. But it also leads directly to the goal that we scored just a few minutes later. And so you look at the ball, which is here. Initially, before it gets to this position, the goalkeeper's made a pass in this area. They've played a pass in here and what have you. But you've got tight. He's engaged in here. He's tight in there. But you look at this player in that area, and then he's picked up by both him and him as well. And so what happens is this ball turns over, they squeeze it, the ball turns over in here, they pass into Balogun, and he's offsides. But because of this moment, 15 minutes later when we do score the goal, the keeper doesn't want to pass this, doesn't want to make the same pass. So he plays it long. Tim Ream, our aforementioned friend Tim Ream,
from the last show.
Yeah, from the last show. Wins the ball. I think it's Tyler Adams flicks it on to Mr. Tillman, and Tillman plays the ball through. Fortunate deflection. Second fortunate deflection through the goalkeeper.
And that's
1-0 USA.
That's Balogun. And when you look at the high press, this is almost like the pressure you see in basketball on a full court press.
Yeah, absolutely the same thing. And in a high pressing situation, you're trying to put defenders in positions where they have to think faster. And the quicker you can make players think, then sometimes that forces them to rush decisions, and that's how turnovers are caused.
About making them uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Everything in sports is about, to me, comfort and being uncomfortable. And
you're manipulating the opponent here to make them uncomfortable.
Yes. And now when we go to the next play, now this is in the 79th minute or so. What did you see on this? Because this set up the second goal. This set up the United States' second goal. What did you see here?
First off, I love this so much. This is what the American kind of culture is all about, right? We're just hardworking, we're tough. When we're playing on this situation, we're trying to press. I love it. But you think about 79 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yes.
We had a player sent off.
One man down.
65th minute, so we're 15 minutes into being a man down. And what are we doing here? We're high pressing again, and the ball bouncing in the corner. We fish it out. We get the ball into Sergino Dest right here, who then gets in this area. That's foul's called, free kick, and then Tillman hits the best goal of his life on the ensuing free kick.
And what's impressive to you here is that you're a man down, but are we counting the number of jerseys for the United States
1,
in this vicinity?
2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 of our 9 field players, over half of our field players are in this one quadrant of the field, and we have locked them in, turned them over, a man down and a goal up to get this opportunity here at the top of the box.
Risky, but it paid off.
Risky, not so much so, because the ball's bouncing in the air in the corner of the field here. Risk versus reward here from a defensive perspective, we'll take it. They still have 120 yards to go to score a goal against us. We turn them over here, we've got 20 yards to go to score a goal against them.
Now let's talk about Belgium and this man right here, Kevin De Bruyne, absolute menace for the United States. U.S. lost to Belgium in the knockout stage in 2014. 12 years later, he's still on the Belgium roster, but does he pose the same kind of threat as we saw once before?
I don't think so. I think he can still impact the game at a very high level, but he's kind of towards the end of his career now. A fantastic player still in his own right, so I'm not discounting him whatsoever, but just not quite where he used to be.
And what scares you most about this Belgium team? Is it the uncertainty, given that they've been all over the map with their play in this World Cup?
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? You don't know who's going to show up. 2 draws in the World Cups, in the group stages, Snooze fest, absolute snooze fest of games to watch. They turned it on against New Zealand and scored 5 goals, and then they were not very good, I'll be politically correct, they're not very good against Senegal for 85 minutes. And then scored 2 goals in the span of 5 to get to extra time. And then a bit of a fortuitous penalty in the last little bit there heading into penalties. We didn't quite get there, but a little bit unfortunate on their part.
And Ryan, we brought out the confidence meter, low confidence, high confidence. Now, without Balogun, how confident are you that the United States can beat Belgium?
I think I'm going to kind of be in here still. I think this
man's wearing a U.S. shirt.
This is still a good matchup for the U.S., okay? Like we talked about a minute ago, Belgium's been all over the map. Which team is going to show up, we don't really know. What I do expect from the U.S. team, we're still going to high press. I expect us to be very on the front foot high pressing wise. I also still expect us to be dominant in possession, like we have in each of our previous matches. And I think that's going to be a big key for us.
All right, well, now France winning it all. France still the odds-on favorite. Where are you?
As they should be. France is looking really good. I'm going to go down here, if I can, even more so than I should.
You can. You just did.
Yeah, well, France, they have an unbelievable attacking group in their team with Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, Barcola. I mean, there's 4 guys that you have to defend for and count for as an opposition. You cannot stop one of them, maybe. You cannot stop all 4 of them at the same time.
Yeah, without a doubt. And now, how about this one? England. Is England feeling more pressure than Mexico entering this match? How much confidence do you have in that statement?
I'm going to go kind of middle of the road here. And I'll tell you why. I think on paper, England is pound for pound the better team. This game isn't played on paper.
No.
It's played in Mexico City.
Yes.
Over a mile high.
Yes.
And, oh, by the way, did you see some of the videos that came out against our game prior to Ecuador? There are fireworks going off over the hotel. There's all kinds of things that the English group is going to have to deal with in this game before they even get to the game. And I don't know how they deal with that. If they deal with it well, England should win. But you're playing in Mexico, mile high, with 90,000 crazy people in the stands. I don't know how this is going to go for England.
All right, how about this? Confidence that the winner of Mexico-England has a realistic path to the semifinals.
I'm going to go kind of in there. I think at this stage in the tournament, every match is a tough match. There's no, if you win this game, you have an automatic road to the final. If whoever wins that game, more likely is going to play Brazil. And that's going to be a tough game. There's no slouch of a program they are in Brazil. So there's just no easy roads at this moment.
Spoken like a coach, taking it one game at a time. Yep, that's coach speak for you.
Yeah.
Schedule is out. A lot of home games to start the season for you.
Yeah, we open with Jacksonville at home at Soros Field on our campus, 7:30, I believe. So come out and watch. We're at home for the first 3 games of our season. So Jacksonville opener, UMass Lowell on Sunday. The following Thursday, UC San Diego on our campus in Soros Field.
So great to see men's college soccer at HCU. And I do want to bring this up. We saw what happened yesterday with the Bosnia coach, and I just want to make sure that come game time, we won't see you doing the same thing, right? Like, you're not going to be grabbing the ball and not giving it to the other team. That's something that you don't do that kind of stuff, do you?
I can't confirm nor deny that won't happen.
Ryan Pratt, it is so great to have you on Extra Time. Your 3rd cap. This guy's the best. Thanks for being with us again.
Thank you for having me back.
And coming up, when the World Cup comes to town, everyone wants to be a part of the story, including one soccer superfan who's helping show the world what Houston is all about. When it comes to soccer, few Houston creators have a bigger following than Samara Perez. She even covered the World Cup in Qatar. Now she's helping FIFA tell Houston's story. She's stopping by to talk about soccer in this city and the global spotlight now shining on it.
Samara, you were at the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar, and now that it's in your own backyard, what feels different to you about this World Cup compared to the last one?
Wow, well, this one I can feel more unity, more countries coming together and enjoying the beautiful game, and the expansion of it, really, the growth of it. I can see with this new format, it's just gotten much more popular now that it's here in the States. So I would say just the immensity of it is the big difference, because in Qatar, it was all in one country. It was all in the same city, per se. All the 7 stadiums were able to be reached and traveled to within the same day. You could go to multiple games in one day.
That sounds phenomenal in some ways.
That's not possible at all.
So what's been the best unplanned moment thus far for you at this World Cup?
Okay, best unplanned moment.
But I guess best could be different. It could be measured in different ways. The most viewed, the largest reach,
sure,
the most likes. So what would, I guess, moving off that, what would you consider the best moment? Is it based on the number of people who've seen it, or something that you're like, wow, I'm so glad I was there to see that?
Yes. Well, for now, I have a video that's reached almost 3 million views, and this was right before the World Cup started. It was the Mexico national team send-off tour in California, where I got invited through a brand, and I was able to be there as, a fan. But in the spur of the moment, they were like, okay, you're gonna have a chance to interview the Mexican national soccer team players. I was like, okay, so I had to think of something really quick. I mean, the questions that I asked them weren't the best. They only gave me 1 minute and 30 seconds, and even less. So just for me, it's important to get a personality from the players, like media and other professional journalists that, are really analytical, focus on, the tactics and the serious part of the games. For me, it's more fun content. And I mean, that's been so far the highlight of the lead up of the World Cup. And then for the World Cup, I mean, just everything that we've seen at the fan festivals, people being thrown in the air, and then the Japanese fans and other countries, adapting and wearing the cowboy hats. And that's just been phenomenal for everyone to see and experience.
Which visiting fan base, then, have you enjoyed the most, or you would consider the best ones?
Ooh. I mean, Japan's pretty up there because of, their culture and how they clean up in the stadiums, and just how their culture is so different to ours here. But then the Netherlands and the bus and their chants and just how many people show up. And Sweden, Norway with the rowing, with the Viking row, like everybody has just been incredible. And then Mexicans, of course, we are a fan base that knows how to throw a party. And I'm sure whenever Mexico won their 4th game now, that people did not sleep.
I noticed something there. I think you got out of that question by saying all of the above. That was the easy answer. You weren't going to pick one, so you just said all of.
Pick one.
You're like all of the above. All of the above.
It's hard to pick just one.
England up next. How will this play out? Will that home field, home country advantage, do you think that will be a deciding factor? Could it be a deciding factor?
I think it will be, just because they're 4 games without conceding a goal, 4 games unbeaten, and just the atmosphere of the stadium. I've never had the chance to be at that stadium, but I can just imagine the enormity of it. And imagine being in a stadium with 80,000 plus Mexican fans and maybe, I don't know, a few thousand Germany fans. And of course, the altitude part of it, I think, is a big aspect for the Mexican team an advantage because, I mean, England is not used to that.
No.
That weather, those conditions, and you saw what they did with the Ecuadorian fans. They were not letting them sleep. They were outside their hotel partying and just keeping them up. So I think that it's going to be definitely a factor.
Samara, thank you so much for
Thank
being on
you.
Extra Time.
Yes, it was a pleasure. I love KHOU and everything you guys do. We watch all the sports segments, so I'm honored to be here.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before American soccer had many homegrown stars, it had Kyle Rote Jr. In 1979, he brought that star power here to Houston. Kyle Rote Jr. was already one of America's most recognizable names when he joined the Houston Hurricane of the North American Soccer League. But in this 1979 interview, he makes it clear individual success isn't enough.
I'm a goal setter, but I'm not a prognosticator. I don't make public predictions, but I have my own personal goals. I think everyone has to, because if you're not going in some direction, you're standing still. And not just athletically, but spiritually and emotionally and within my family. I've got goals for all of those things, and I think it's important.
What are some of your goals for the team?
Well, certainly I have never been on a championship team. That is one part of my career that I really miss. I've enjoyed some individual success and have had some recognition in that area. But to be part of a championship team and walk around with that ring is something that every athlete, I guess, wants to have.
Kyle coming to Houston from Dallas, where he grew up. Here's some NASL action from Kyle inside the Astrodome. He is now 75 years old. This video, vintage video from March of 1979. One of the World Cup's most photographed vehicles has left Houston. The Dutch orange bus had been outside the Hyatt Regency in downtown, giving fans one last chance to see it up close. With the Netherlands out of the tournament, it has left Houston and likely headed back through Galveston. That's going to do it for us here on Extra Time. Again, thanks to both Ryan Pratt from HCU Men's Soccer and Samara Perez for stopping by today. We are back tomorrow on that free KHOU 11 streaming app. We're leaving you with this one last look at Pitch 25. Enjoy the action tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.